Yes, Konati, very good morning to you. I had the privilege of reading your article in Business Maverick this morning. New Eskom CEO is no stranger to turnaround projects. That may be well and good, but from your sort of investigation as you're preparing this article, do you think he's the right man for the Eskom job? You've covered Eskom for many years. You've gone deep into the mess that Eskom has become. What do you think? Is he the right man?
Dan, I met André about 8 years ago when he was an executive at Sasol. I must tell you that he was one of the people that brought, that successfully delivered within budget and on time the gas import project from the north of Mozambique. Sasol imports a lot of gas from Mozambique into its operations on the east of the country, and André was part of that project team. André was also head of the global chemicals business when they conceptualized the investment in Louisiana in the United States, the ethane cracker and gas to liquids plant. He designed that. He led the team that designed that project and then left before implementation when he joined Nampak. He certainly has solid skills in terms of huge investment projects. He has been able to do that successfully in the past, and I've spoken to 3 Sasol employees who worked with him, senior executives, some of them who worked with him at the time. They say Eskom, they say Dan is now Dan is the chief executive of Sasol. André is absolutely the correct guy in terms of ethics. He's solid. He's definitely not an engineer. He has been immersed in that huge engineering behemoth that is called Sasol.
But Nampak, he didn't really succeed there. You use a very good expression in your article. You said when he went to Nampak in 2014, he inherited a dog's breakfast. It was a very tough one. Do you think he did as well as he could there at Nampak? Absolutely.
If you look at the share price of Nampak, it's going that way. It's 85% down in the past 5 years. André joined Nampak on the 1st of April 2014. So you look at the share price then, it's down 85%. Now, the share price doesn't tell you what happened before and what happens after. The lowdown is Nampak had invested in the 5 years prior to him joining in Zimbabwe, before during the meltdown in Zimbabwe, where the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe won't allow anyone to repatriate US dollars, any cash out of Zimbabwe. It had done exactly the same. Invested in 2 plants, a bottling and a packaging plant in Nigeria, invested in a bottling plant in Angola. A year after he joined the company, the oil price on which Angola, Nigeria, rely for 90% of their government expenditure, the economy is driven by oil, collapsed. Nigeria and Angola did exactly the same. They locked and said no one takes out
So currency. There were other factors other than his performance as a leader that impacted on that Nampak
big factors that he was brought in to fix. Where Nigeria, nobody, the Nampak's cash is still trapped in Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria. If you remember the problems MTN had in Nigeria, those are the exact problems that affected Nampak.
Okay.
Angola, same thing. You don't get cash out of Angola, but now Nampak had already invested, raised debt in South Africa, US dollar debt, to pay for those plants, but you're not allowed to take money out of Angola, money out of Nigeria in order to service the debt in South Africa. So he came in and said, we'll first cut dividends. We're not paying out any dividends.
So he can make tough decisions. I mean, I've seen some of the reaction. There's a transformation issue that's been raised by other circles in South Africa, and there's also the issue of that debt restructuring that Eskom is facing. I mean, 450 billion rand or up and above of that. One wonders if he's got the stomach to deal with that, but from what you are saying, he might. The NUM, the largest union in Eskom, is saying they won't support him. They're questioning his credentials. He's facing a huge task ahead, in short. Can he do it, in your view?
Let's start here. Nampak is only 11 times smaller than Eskom. That's the start in terms of revenue and in terms of the number of people that work there. Eskom has got 11 times more people, so it's definitely a big operation. But look at it this way: When he joined Nampak in 2014, debt ratio stood at 73%. Today, the debt ratio stands at 52%. It had dropped back to all the way to 37% by September last year, but they had to refinance some of the debt. So he's been helping restructure and pay off a lot of that debt, but he's suspended dividends, taken those hard decisions, and indeed the investors have gone to greener pastures. Does the NUM say it won't support him? Great, and you're talking about transformation issues. Transformation is a big deal. Then let's look at it this way. The past 20 years, Eskom has had black chief executive officers. And the transformation does not mean exclude white people. Does not mean white people are not welcome. It means this economy has to be as representative as possible. Out of the past 20 years, since 2000, Eskom has been led by black chief executive officers. It has now won. Has that reversed transformation? I submit not.
Thank you very much. It's Konati Machancha with your insights there. De Ruyter sharing with us a little bit about the man who will be taking over the helm as CEO of Eskom from January, André de Ruyter. Well, some people might argue, let's give the man a chance.